that you've not let by the philosophy ideology that you've stubbornly held on to, by the philosophy that you've glued yourself, Gombody, you've glued yourself to that philosophy, which reflects in the way that you now process things and is expressed in your action. So the man that is drunk doesn't try to stagger. He staggers because he's drunk. Do you understand what I'm saying? The people that do things that seemingly don't make sense, they don't do it because they want to do what doesn't make sense. They do it because there's a thinking that delivers that action. Your action is only an outcome. And everybody needs to know that. The mindset of the champion, your actions are only an outcome. That's why great thought leads will tell you that you don't change habits from the act. You change habits from the heart. If it's not from the heart, it's not going to be sustainable. If all you do is focus on the act, then you're an actor. You're an actor that hasn't won an Oscar. You're an actor that doesn't have an Academy Award. You're an actor that is not recognized for what you have done in Nollywood, Hollywood. So of all men, you're simply the most miserable. Every time you focus on the act. But when you focus on the heart, we're still laying the foundation for the mentality of a champion. By the time you focus on, whenever you focus on the heart, what you're doing is you're digging down, you're digging deep, you're uprooting and you're changing, you're shifting around, you're bending, you're re-engineering what needs to be done to be able to produce the kind of actions that give you the kind of results that you want. So we've dealt with that. Now, the kind of results that you want brings me to the next thing I want to share with you. And we're going to do an analogy. We're going to take an analogy to help you understand that. If I was going to title this session, if I was going to give this session another title, I'll call it The Project Called You. And why do I call it The Project Called You? Because the projects are usually a compendium of activities that are result-driven and receive a high level of focus, a high intensity of focus and attention. And I'm thinking to myself, don't you think that you require a lot of attention? Don't you think that the essence and experience of your life should have something at the end of it that you're striving towards? So let's look at the analogy of a project, and then we'll begin to tie it into the concept of our thoughts. Every project, and I'm a multi-certified project manager, and I can tell you for free that at a basic level, every project is hinged on a tripod. And that tripod consists, and not in any particular order, of number one, scope, number two, cost, and number three, time. However it is that you want to put it, every project functions on scope, cost, and time. Now, scope speaks to, and each of these three are highly dependent, so that if you were going to alter something in one area, it will have direct effect in another area. If you're going to alter something in scope, then there will be something that has to shift or change in cost and timing. If you're going to do something in the area of timing, then it will affect something in the area of costing and scope. Now, what is scope? Scope is simply this. If we're going to tie it to you as a person, so I want you to understand that you are the project. You are the project. By the way, can I say this? That your responsibility here on earth is to get you out of the way of you. Now, I know that may hurt. I know that may be a challenge. I know that, you think too highly of yourself and all of that, but please understand that you are your biggest problem. And the reason why you have to get you out of the way of you is so that you can become. So if I was to put that together in a sentence, I would say that you have to get you out of the way of you so that you can become. Somebody write that down. You have to get you out of the way of you so that you can become. Let me deal quickly. Too many things to talk about. Let me deal quickly with why you have to get you out of the way of you. Let me say the way the Jamaicans will say it. You is a problem. You is a big problem, right? Brenda, it's not like I can't speak English. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying, because I saw that look on your face like, goodness, did you just say that? You is a problem. You is a big problem. You is a massive problem. And you're not all that. How do I know that you're not all that, right? How do I know you're not all that? How do I know that if you is untamed, if you is if you isn't disciplined, if you isn't given the right kind of attention, you will never allow you to become. How do I know this? So there's a part in the Bible where the angels were having a great time, and they were chilling with God, having a great time with God, and they were just gisting. I don't know exactly what they were gisting about, but I guess it was something in the realm of praise and worship. You know that kind of gist, right? So the angel said to God, and he looks at God, and they probably saw God looking down on man and just doting on man and doting on man, and the angel said to him, God, what is it about man that thou art so mindful of him? Now that's strong. Because listen, guys, I've got two boys, and well, I don't have two boys. I have five amazing kids I love, right? Five amazing kids I love. And every time there is no doubt about how I love them. Apart from the fact that I love them, they are also sterling students, amazing, lion know the born goats now. You understand what I'm saying. They're also awesome individuals, amazing champions, doing great stuff even at their young age and doing great stuff. I have never heard anybody come to me and say, why do you love them so much? I have never heard anybody come to me and say, why do you love them so much? Because it's evident why I should love them that much. It's evident. They make me proud. They're great. They're awesome. I know they're not on this call, but somehow, the internet is a small place. So when they see that daddy is loving on them, So they're amazing guys. And nobody has ever come to me to say, why do you love them so much? But imagine that they were not so great. Imagine that they were dealing with all kinds of issues and we're not doing so well, and we're creating all kinds of issues in the society, and we're a menace to society, and we're just all kinds of destructive in nature, and every single thing that we pray against. If I was doting on them, then somebody would qualify to ask me, why do you love them so much? So the angels looked at man in his state of despondency, looked at man in his state of idiosyncrasy, looked at man and saw his fallen nature, saw the wickedness of his heart, saw his frail state and everything, and all of that, the deceptive bit that he has. And they said to God, why are you so mindful of him? In other words, he's not worthy. Does somebody understand that? He's not worthy of seemingly, or rather, he's not seemingly worthy of the love that you're pouring on him. This is why you have to understand that nature in itself comes against anything left in its natural state, comes against what a champion should be. Note that. So therefore, if you do not get you out of the way of you, you're going to have a problem. And it's a real thing. And as we go along over the next few minutes, you're going to get to understand that deep. So we're talking about a project, lest I digressed. And I digressed, right? We're talking about projects. We're talking about scope, cost, and time. And what the scope simply speaks to is simply all that you can be. What the scope speaks to is your vision. Whatever your vision is for your life, for your career, for your marriage, for your relationship, for your leadership, your mentorship, whatever it is, your scope is simply all that you can do. The question is your scope scoping? And I didn't say write that one down. Is your scope scoping? I was listening to an interview where someone said, look, if your dream doesn't require you to ask a question of how can I get this done, then it's not quite a dream that's big enough. We're talking about scope. If your vision doesn't challenge, and I know you've heard this many times, so I'm not here to tell you the things that you've heard. I'm here to get you to think about the things you've heard so that you can do the things that you do as you become. Think, do, become. Note that. So your scope speaks to all that you can be that you have not yet become. Your scope speaks to what your innate desires are. And with your scope delivers to you not just where you want to go get to. Your scope also delivers and births to you the story of your legacy. And there's a difference between vision and legacy. And these days, I talk more about legacy than I talk about vision, because I now seem to understand that in the world that we live in, that is full of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, that if you don't pay attention to your legacy, then chances are that your vision will be unfulfilled. And so vision is simply the picture of the future, as you all very well know. You're all here with Brenda, so I know that you know that already. But your legacy is, your vision is from where you are to where you want to be. Your legacy is from where you want to be back to where you are. And so your scope speaks to every single thing that you need to where exactly you want to get to, how far you want to get to, the whatever height it is that you want to get to. And what I just did now was get you to interrogate and interrogate and question your scope, because your scope needs to be questioned. And like I said, and I repeat myself with no apology, that if your scope doesn't get you to ask how can you do this, then you're not scoping right. First, on the other side, for the sake of time, so I'm moving on quickly. I'll come back to touch a couple of other things. First, on the other side, speaks to the sacrifices, the prices that you have to pay to be able to get your scope done. It speaks to the things and your processes and your plan, your strategy, because everything in life starts from, number one, the place of your visioning, number two, the place of your strategy, number three, the place of your plan, and number four, the place of your tactics. Everything, every champion must have thought processes that hover down that funnel. The place of your vision, the place of your strategy, because your vision requires a strategy. Your strategy requires plans, not a plan. Your strategy requires plans. And your plans require key activities or tactics. And you must have thoughts about all of this that must translate into action. Now, when you look at vision, strategy, plan, and tactics, and you begin to ask yourself, what do I need to do? Who do I need to connect with? How far do I need to run? And how fast do I need to run? And then myriad of questions that you need to ask yourself in the place of cost. Now, let's talk a bit about those questions. Can I talk to you about questions for a little bit? I believe very strongly that every great thing that you ever experience in life will come on the other side of questions. Every great thing. Every great thing. One of the cardinal scripture that also guides me, my thoughts and my businesses and my work is Matthew 7:7, and the entire concept and principle of ask, seek, and knock. And it's not just related to asking things of God, it's also related to strategy mapping and execution. Because you must ask questions, and the quality of questions that you ask will determine the quality of answers that you get. And in asking questions, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Champions are brutally honest with themselves. If anything will be said about you, you will never serve a champion that he deceives himself, because the place of championship stems from the pool of authenticity. And so you ask questions of yourself. And the questions that you ask yourself are also hinged around three things. Number one, identity. Number two, purpose. And number three, long-term intention. And you must be very clear about this, because you must understand that when we say that you are wired to win and that you are equipped to excel, each of those statements starts with you. So the question you must first understand, as Brenda has taught you aptly in this house, is that you must understand you. And when we say that you need to get you out of the way of you so that you can become, what we mean is you must give adequate understanding to yourself, because the weapon and the equipment are designed for you. So first of all, before you understand the wiring and the equipment, you must first understand you. Every champion must understand you. And your understanding of you, asking questions regarding your identity, purpose, and identity, purpose, and long-term intention releases you to go in search of answers to those questions. So you begin to seek. Seeking is where the magic happens. Seeking is where there's process. Seeking is where you dig deep. Seeking is where you begin to do the things you do. You take the courses that you do. You do the extra hours of study. You do the contemplations. You do the meditations. You get into platforms such as this. You seek knowledge. You seek your network. You seek connection on diverse levels. You seek how to be able to find answers to those questions. Because remember what I told you, the challenges that you have in life stem from questions that life asks of you. and you don't have answers to. But this is the hack, and I've come to know this. This is the hack. Remember when you were in secondary school, right? And I believe you went to secondary school, right? And remember when you were in secondary school, there was something called mock exam. You remember mock exam? So mock exam was a real exam. It wasn't a joke. It was a real exam, but it was designed to prepare you for the exam. So now, if you ever want to succeed as a champion, your thought frame should be that before life asks questions of you, you should ask questions of yourself. Because when you ask questions of yourself and you seek, when life asks questions of you, you're now well prepared to knock and answer those questions, because you knock at the door of opportunities. And when those doors are open to you, if you haven't gone through the process of asking and seeking, those doors will crush you rather than give you access. So what was meant to be a blessing will, in other words, turn out to be a curse. And so champions do not take lightly the process of asking and seeking, because you understand that all that I will be will stem from there. But everything starts from the place of the thoughts, of the thinking, of the processing. Because the questions you have and the questions you ask don't fall from heaven. They come from your thought processes. They come from the querying of the precepts and the concepts that you have. They come from the re-examination of the ideology that you have. They come from the weighing comparison, the sifting and surgical separation of the philosophies that you've been running with. That now enables you to re-engineer your mentality. If I was to give you an analogy for this, I will speak in terms of agriculture terms. You know that one of the things that, imagine yourself as an agricultural process. So what do? What delivers a great harvest? Is it the seed? Is it the watering? Is it the natural elements? No, there's a place for all of that, but that's not what besets it. Because what begets is not what important, but you need what besets to get what begets. And I'm not speaking New King James. Now, what begets it is what you do first with the land in which you are going to carry out that entire process. Picture the land to be your mind. We're talking about mindset of a champion. Picture the land to be your mind. And every time that you get to a land in its natural state, the land is likely to be fallow. Remember, I will keep telling you, everything you live in its natural state isn't designed to deliver a championship to you. Everything. You don't need to do nothing for weeds to grow. You need to do everything to cultivate the garden that you desire. So let's go back to the land. So you're looking at the land and the land is fallow. What do you do with the land? Agriculturists will tell us that you till the land. And tilling is the process where you break the soil, turn it upside down, shake it around, and go. The question I'm going to ask of you this night is, when was the last time you tilled your mind? Precept, concept, ideology, philosophy, mentality, attitude. You've run with the same thing for so long. And listen, let's understand this. In a generation where people now believe that every time you question something is because you're irresponsible and you simply want to cause trouble. No. Understand that when I ask you to question a process that you're currently carrying out, it is not so that I simply am saying that the process is bad. It is so that even if the process is good, you have the confidence to stand by it the more. And you can never innovate on what you don't understand. And when you question it, you will understand it better. And then when you understand it better, you can now develop creative and innovative ways to enhance it, which delivers better output and value for the world. That's what the entirety of creation is earnestly waiting for. That's the manifestation. And so when you come with the way that it is, you haven't tilled your mind, you're still running things that it is, you're still carrying out things that where you really don't understand stuff, you will carry out actions. But we live in an era, like I said, that is characterized by the acronym VUCA: volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And when things begin to go out of shape and out of line because all you do is to act and you really don't have the heart. You don't know what to do in those circumstances. And that's what separates the champion from the laggard. So we're still talking of tilling the land. And after you've tilled the land, you've broken the land. Literally, you have re-engineered the soil. Then you can now plant. And when you plant, what happens is because things have been shaken around and losing just a bit, there's now a room, an opportunity for the percolation of water and nutrients and air and all the things that are required for that seed to germinate. And then it begins to find its way to light. Don't worry, we'll get back to agriculture later. Let's leave that for now. So we go back to the concept of scope, cost, and time. Scope, cost, and time. So all of that is what happens in cost. You have to be able to realize what you need to pay to get things done. And the question is, if you are not fixated on your scope, you will not have the drive to be able to actualize the cost that is necessary for that scope. So many times I talk to people and I deal with organizations that are more focused on reducing or dealing with the scope that they find convenient and dealing with the costs that they find convenient. And in other words, letting go of the scope that was meant for them. And this is where the concept of prioritization comes in. And what's prioritization? Prioritization is not what you feel good about. Prioritization is not what is great to do. Prioritization is really what you cannot do without. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you, in the scope of you being the best at what you do, what are the things that you can't do without? Because that's where your energy, time, and focus should go to. And I'm getting ahead of myself already, but it's okay. It's okay. Somebody needed to hear that. What can't you do without? What can't you do without? By the way, can I also throw this in? If you want to be relevant in the marketplace, for those of you doing businesses, make sure that you communicate value of your product or your service and deliver an experience that your customers and clientele believe that they can't do without. Don't worry, we'll talk about that later. This is business strategy. We'll talk about that later. Scope, cost, time. Scope, cost, time. Let's talk about time. Time is really, really, before we talk about time, can I just drag you back a little bit? We're talking about the entirety of understanding, and understanding is key. And you know, I ask many people, let me do an exercise for 2 minutes, right? Or maybe 60 seconds. I don't have time, and I have a lot to talk about. Let's do an example. How many people here know how to count? Please, I am not insulting you. And if you think I am, forgive me. But how many of you here know how to count? Everybody, if you know how to count, please put up your hand. If you know how to count, well, please, don't be too proud. Don't be too big. I'm sorry. I've apologized already. If you know how to count, put up your hand. Everybody here can count, right? I see. I know how to count. I can count money. It's good. It's all parts of counting. Alimat, Bukoye, you can count. Awesome. Everybody can count. Fidelia, you can count. Hey, yeah. Count your blessings. You can count. Okay, great. For everybody, for those of you that didn't answer, me and the Lord were watching you. For those of you that answered, I just want you to give me a simple answer in 30 seconds. What's the principle behind counting? Tell me, write it down. It's here. Don't worry, I won't tell anybody, it's not, don't worry, just answer. What's the principle behind counting? Try. Give it a try. By the way, champions try. Numbers. The principle behind counting is numbers. Okay, it's well. I promise I will not laugh. Go on. Well, Queen Wachuku, I hear you. To know the figure, Fidelia. Now, people are speaking plenty English. Taking stock. Taking stock. You're counting now. What's the principle behind counting? How do you take stock? How do you know numbers? Records. How do you record? What are you recording? Well, let me help you out. Why do you walk to the seashore for all those of us that like to go to the beach? Accuracy. Hey, I'm a science student. Accuracy as well. Why do you go to the beach and you can't count the water in the ocean? Why? Why is it even possible to take sand in your hand, and even if you reduce the barest minimum, you can actually count? But if it's plenty, you can't count. What's the principle? Think, I'm just giving you an example. I'm helping you to see why there are people that take time to understand certain things and create certain things that you spend your money on. And you wonder why they're the billionaires of today. Then I'm just helping us here. All right. The principle behind counting, I'll say it for the sake of time so we can move on. And if you say, if you're the first person to say, because they're uncountable items. Okay, Queen, uncountable items, Abby. Let me tell us a secret so we can move on. The principle behind counting is very simple. Separation. Separation. I'll say it again. Separation. What you can't separate, you can't count. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. In other words, take them apart. Separate them. So now, what you can do, and I could spend an hour talking about that, breaking that down, exercising that for you, right? But what I'm trying to show you here is how many other things in your life have you been doing that you truly do not understand? How many other things? It's dangerous not to question what you think you know. It's absolutely dangerous. We're talking about the mindset of a champion. It's absolutely dangerous not to question what you think you know. Remember, we're talking about questions. The first question that God asked in the history as recorded by the Bible was, where are you? The second question that God asked was, anybody, Bible students, who told you? Who told you? Who told you? And I believe it's a question that from tonight, a lot of people need to begin to ask of themselves. Who told you? Who told you that it's okay to just try? Who told you that, I've tried my best people? Who told you that I tried my best is what we're looking for? We're looking for the best. Who told you that you can't do a little bit more than what you've done? Who told you? Who told you that it's impossible to stretch yourself? Do you understand? Who told you that pressure isn't good? Do you know that pressure does either of two things? Pressure will either stretch you or pressure will contain you. When pressure contains you, it mitigates your giftings. When pressure stretches you, it allows you to manifest your gift. Who told you? Who told you all the things you've held on to that has served as limitations to your becoming? Do you see why you need to get you out of the way? Because until you question, critique certain things, seek for new answers. And if you don't seek for new answers, you don't qualify to knock on the door. Somebody understand what I'm saying? You don't qualify to knock on the door. Who told you? Can I quickly run to talk about time? So let's talk about time. In the concept of projectizing you, right? Time is amazing because you see, time now allows you to understand what needs to be done to achieve the scope that you have. And let me take a few minutes to understand, tell you about the concept of time. I find time periodical very interesting and very curious. I've been a student of time for about maybe a decade and a half. I've talked about time on over God knows how many platforms. And I keep giving time to thinking about time. Did you get that? Okay, you get that tomorrow. I give time to thinking about time. Time is so important. First of all, let me say, caveat, I don't believe there's anything like time management. Okay, so I'm about to cause chaos in this room right now. I don't believe there's anything like time management. I know you heard it. I know there's a school of thought leaders that have told you that. I know, but my question is this, and my philosophy is very simple. Everybody on earth has 24 hours a day, has the same number of years within the years if they're alive, has the same number of weeks and months. So time is not the problem. The real issue is not time. The real issue is what you do within time. So you don't need more time. You need to look at what you do within time. So I don't believe in the concepts that it says of time management. I believe in the concept of you management. So I'm being on you. I'm a you coach. I like that one. I actually just made that up now. So I'm gonna have my team post it, after that. I'm a you coach. Brenda, don't let me see it on any of your posts, right? So you have that concept of time, and I see the time that I have left. You have that concept of time. But you see, something happens within time. In time is where, because you are, listen to this, and I want you to get this well. How long are you going to live? 100, 120, 90? I don't think, as it is, maybe you can, I don't know. I don't think you're going to live up to 250 years. I don't know if you're going to live up to 1,000 years. But think about your scope. If you were going to go at the pace that you're going, don't you think you probably need like 300 years to be able to achieve the dreams that you have? If you went by the way you are doing, line upon line, and there's nothing wrong with that, block upon block, you probably will need 400 years. So time delivers two things to you. Time delivers what I now call processing that gives you linear growth. And time delivers what I call intervention that delivers exponential growth to you. Intervention, whether you want to call it a miracle, a breakthrough, or open door, whatever it is, intervention is a moment in time where all the capacities that you have built in your processes delivers the momentum to you. Only if you've taken the lessons of your day-to-day linear growth. So it means that many of us have interventions in life, but because we were not well suited and well prepared for it, we were not rightly positioned for it. We recognized it, maybe we tried to utilize it, but we most certainly didn't maximize it. It all starts from the thoughts. It all starts from the thoughts. So in time, you get what we call experience. And I believe very strongly, and I've said this for quite a while, that the only time that a champion wastes is the time that they learn nothing from. It doesn't matter what happened to you in that time. It doesn't matter what happened to you within that. All right, all right. The only time I was saying, as a champion, the only time that you waste is the time that you learn nothing from. So every experience delivers either of two things from you. You either learn what to do or you learn what not to do. And many times, while we celebrate learning the things to do, you don't understand that what delivers significant value to you and it helps you to be able to deliver your experience to the next generation is really learning what not to do. So it helps you with that understanding that even if you were on a job that was dead end, you will learn how not to be a bad boss. Even if you were going through a situation and all hell was breaking out round about you, you are learning what not to do in those situations. And those are invaluable things that you can't buy in ShopRite. Learning what to do. So when we take all of that, scope, time, and cost, and you take all of that and juxtapose that with the concept of where it all starts from, your thinking. My question to you then will be, what are you going to think differently about getting that scope? What new prices do you think you need to pay to be able to achieve that scope? And what are you going to do to position yourself for interventions that can crunch time and allows you to hit your scope within the timeline of your life? because your scope is meant to be achieved within the timeline of your life, but the impact of it is meant to exceed the timeline of your life. Every champion understands that whilst giftings are great and talents are good, that while I may need to push myself and run, I'm only going to burn out if I don't understand that it starts from my thoughts. It starts from the heart. So I could come here and tell you how you need to be disciplined and study and read and all of that and everything and push yourself and all of that. But you understand why you need to do that? Have you understood how best that you will do that for you? Have you understood just how to be able to get yourself and why you need to run and why you need to do the things that you need to do? So we pay too much attention to what we need to do. We pay little attention to understanding why we need to do it. It was Malcolm Gladwell in his book Outliers that said that it requires 10,000 hours for you to be iconic in what you do. Do you understand why you need to give your all to what you do? The mindset of a champion starts from the thought. It ends in the act and delivers to you a legacy that we all can be proud of. Brenda, I'm done.
As much as, I think I told you that you have about 10 minutes left, but I really don't think you are done. So just hold on a minute.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to allow for questions very soon. But I feel like I've written so many things down, but I wanted to complete your thoughts on getting me out of my way, because
Yeah.
I need us to zero in. There are so many other things. There are so many other things. I'll come to that. But how do I get myself out of my own way? Right? I understand the concept of me being in my way. Right? Trust me, firsthand. I know that. I know when I'm doing it sometimes. When I'm overthinking it, when I'm over rational. But then again, you just talked about the need for deep thoughts. I'm a big believer of thoughts, the power of your thoughts. But there's it's almost like a thin line between thinking on something in order to understand the why, in order to break through it, and then overthinking it, and then having what do they call it? Is it action paralysis or whatever it's called, right? How do I know when I'm overdoing it? When I need to, get out of my way? Because I feel like there are almost two principles that are working against each other in this case. So there's the principle of the fact that the universe wants you to, thank you, analysis paralysis. The universe wants you to do things fast. You get an idea, move, right? I've learned that as well. But then there is the part of think on these things, right? That your thoughts are things. Think on these things. How do I know when I'm overthinking and when that has now become me being in my own way? I don't know if that makes
Right.
sense.
No,
Yeah.
it does. It does. It does. It does. It does. And it's something that many times a lot of us are guilty of. But you see, the thing about getting you out of your way is, first of all, even understanding you. You see, you can't develop a strategy around what you don't understand. And everything that thrives in life has a system round about it. And so getting you out of your way means that you learn to build a system. I was sharing something with a media consultant this morning about how that stuff we all had when we were growing up, and it's about starving your weaknesses. And I heard something about a decade ago, and someone said to me, starve your weaknesses. That means send resources to your weaknesses. And many times starving implies ignoring. Ignoring doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And so you're probably going to get like a hybrid version of that you that you ignored down the line, and you probably don't even have the answer for it, right? So getting you out of your way means that you first of all have to be authentic enough to identify the things that you have to deal with, understand what your natural inclination is, understand the things that spark you up, and understand it. So, and I tell people that it starts from the place of even first of all considering the things that you are, very alive to, and then also taking into cognizance very strong the things that you're very irritated about. And when you create that balance on both sides, Brenda and everyone, what happens is that you're now able to build a system. And listen, the greatest and most successful people and the greatest and most success that you will have in your life are centered around the things that you build a system around. That's why everybody has to be a system builder. And I will keep saying that. You can be a maven, you can be a negotiator, you can be a communicator, you can be a synthesizer, you can be all of that. When you look around the 6 blocks of value, and maybe at some later date, I'll talk about 6 blocks of value delivery. But number 6, and most importantly, you must be a system builder. And so a system builder means that you're looking at you and you're creating systems around it. So there are people that understand that, look, I need to do this in this time because I need extra time to do these other things. Now that's creating a system. And so you make it work for you. You can't come to a game. Listen, being aware of yourself is like being on the pitch in a football game. No matter how gifted or talented Ronaldo or Messi are, they can't score from the bench. You're not giving the right attention to yourself, ill equips you or simply takes you out of the game for you to be able to effect the things that you need to do. So you not become a problem to you. And it requires, I've been there, so I can say it requires a lot of authenticity. It requires a lot of, addressing yourself, being real to yourself. If you're not ready to be brutally honest, then you're probably not ready for the kind of scope. You may like the scope, but you're obviously not ready for it. You're obviously not positioning yourself for it. And so one of the things that, and like you said, we must also develop a mentality of getting things done, of breaking things down. I talked about understanding, of deconstructing things, understanding that you can't let perfection get in the way of progress. And once you do that, paralysis analysis becomes something that you can deal with. So you give thought to something enough for you to be able to action it. And you have a mindset, like I said, the way that I broke down precept all the way to mentality, you know that the next thing that needs to happen, it is hinged on your delivering this thing that you're thinking about. And so you don't spend all the time working on it. And that's what it is. So we need to, when I say getting you out of the way of you, it requires that, number one, you come to terms with you. Don't run away from you. You are the one that is wired to equip to win in your game. You are the one that is equipped to excel. You is so important that you have to give adequate attention to you. You have to find what works for you within the framework of what your expectation of your scope is. By the way, let me say something I just wanted to say right now that I didn't remember to say earlier, and it's very important. One of the things that, and it stems from what Brenda asked, one of the things that must happen and happens with every champion is this: you must understand the principle of anchorage and flexibility and adaptability, and that's how you win. You must be so anchored in something, and then you must also learn to be adaptable enough within the parameter or perimetering of your anchorage, so that whatever comes at you, whatever VUCA situation comes at you, you can adapt within the framework of your anchor to find the best way to deliver it. Because what doesn't bend, Brenda, will break. And when you break, you're of no use to you or to the world that you've been called to serve. So as champions, you understand that, yes, let me be clear. So if you look at the tripod of a project, scope, cost, and time, the question I'm asking everybody tonight is, what have you locked? Because if you've locked on scope and you say, well, no matter what happens, we must be able to achieve this, you will find the energy. I say this all the time, that the clarity of your vision energizes you to deploy the mission. The mission is simply the methodology by which you attain the vision. That's simply what the mission is. And then all that is guided by your values, which is the anchorage. Now, if you are locked on your scope, then you find the necessary release to deploy the right strategy, plans, and tactics that will deliver what you need. You will pay the price. But if your scope is negotiable, if your scope is not something that your heart is given to, Then the day that is a little bit of stress to pay the price, you say, we can pay this half price and be fine. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you must first deal with yourself to say, look, I am resolute on this. This is what I want and this is what I believe. My vision is clear. I'm single-eyed and I'm locking down on this and every other thing that needs to happen. Your job and the essence and the beauty of your life and your existence is to find the most creative way, cost-effective as well, to make that scope happen. And I hope that helps, Brenda.
Fantastic. I feel like you just delivered another masterclass. And I don't know, I'm really excited because there's so many aspects of this that just getting me very, very excited. But one of it humbled me a lot, and that was the concept of time. And when you talked about what's the word now? I don't know. English is at the rate at which you are going, or the speed at which you are going, you might require about 300 years to actually to get to the place where you want to go. And in my head, I'm like, dear God, help me, Lord. Because to be very honest, and I was saying to a few of my friends the other time, I said when we were younger, we all used to say that, oh, by 40, we want to be retired. A lot of us are very close to 40, and here looking like we're going to be retiring anytime soon. And I was saying to them that we need to change strategy. We need to actually think outside of the box if we're even going to be able to retire at 50. You know what I mean? And so when you talk about it might take you 300 years, with the speed at which you are going, it struck a chord. And then you talked about the interventions that can happen. And I'm like, God, thank you. Where are my interventions? But can you just throw more light a little bit, maybe for the next 2-3 minutes, on these interventions? Because the truth is, as it is now, it feels like we're all running out of time, for the dreams that we have, for the place we want to be, for the things that we want to achieve. And I hear you when you say, oh, you have to learn the lessons as you go along through your experiences and all of that. But how well, what are the things that we can do to optimize time?
Okay, so the beauty of it is, the thing about time is that, time goes on and on. And we've come to see really that, look, time is limited. Time is fixed. Time is limited. I mean, you're only going to live for so long. The greatest currency in the world today is access. Access comes by positioning. Access doesn't deliver positioning. Positioning delivers access. Now, what happens with positioning is that two things come to the fore: competency and capacity, which mingled with an intervention delivers the maximization of an opportunity. Opportunities are those windows that give you 10x, 100x, 1,000 times more than what your linear growth will have given to you. Now, you can call them, like I say, you can call them breakthroughs, you can call them stuff. But if I sit down with you, Brenda, and I do what we call a mind mapping for you, you realize how many opportunities that you had that you either did not maximize, sadly did not utilize, or grievously did not recognize. Those were all intervention moments, because every intervention, as I said earlier, is a moment. And what it does is it delivers a momentum to you. When you understand the concept of exponentiality, you understand that it is growth by the power of itself. So it means that the difference between your linear growth, which delivers you the things that you need. But you see, the lessons learned on the trail will serve you. That's why I say to people that right here, where you are, if you cannot tell the story of yourself, don't worry. It means you're not yet ready. That means that things are happening around you and you're blind to them. You can't see it. It's not that you saw it and you're sad and you're frustrated. You're not even frustrated. You can't even see them. And what happens is, from the place of your building capacity, moving from threshold competency to differentiating competency, you will meet. God is not wicked. I'll say that again. God is not wicked not to bring what we call in church circles kairos moments. And this is when divinity intersects with humanity. And these things will come in cycles around your life. Unto everybody, it is so apportioned. But your positioning is what allows you and qualifies you to knock on the door. So many people like the idea of a thing. You want to be this, you want to take. Do you know how many things you could have done that retiring at 40 will be a reality? But you said, I'm not ready. Who told you? You said, it is out of my reach. Who told you? You said, it's too stressful. I like that one. Who told you? Just like the second question that God asked of Adam, who told you? And so when you look back now, and you're looking back is not so that you feel bad. You're looking back is so you learn the lessons from it, what to do and what not to do. So if it's true that every day, as the Bible says, that God loads every day with benefits, the question is, what happens when you utilize benefits? Think about it. Selah. Think about it.
I mean, I could go on and on with the questions, but because of time, I will just allow anybody else who has. I'll take maybe one or two more questions. If you have a question, you can drop it in the chat box or just put your hand up, and I would ask you to unmute. But Jesus, I mean, hey, you are going to continue this conversation after now. Sorry about to everybody else on the call. But there are still so many aspects that I would like for us to delve into and just to talk about. But I am so grateful. This has been a master class, to be very honest. I mean, I have notes, I have things I need to go and think about, after this class. But thank you so much. In case you are joining us for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Conversations with Brenda. I am so happy to have you here. If this is your first time, please let us know in the chat box as well. I think I saw some people from AU's Corner. Roy Moore, I'm very sure that you are one of AU's people. It's good to see you. And everybody that is joining for the very first time. This is Conversations with Brenda, and this is a place where we have conversations that push us to be more, because we recognize that we are champions, right? But sometimes life would ask questions of you, and then you begin to wonder, who am I? What am I doing here? How am I even supposed to succeed and all of that? And so these are places where we have these conversations to reposition us and to remind us that there is a higher version of us that is waiting for us to walk into. And so we welcome you. If this is your first time, we'll be happy to welcome you to our community if you're interested. And just to, add you to our mailing list as well, so that, when we have conversations like this, we have been privileged in this place to have very great minds. Thank you, Omo Laramide. Omo Laramide. Okay, thank you so much. So I've been privileged to have very great minds, on this call. We've had people like Jimmy Tewe, Steve Harris, we've had Bankole Williams, we've had so many, Lamide Johnson, Lara Kudaisi, we've had, remind me, people. We've had Deyemi, the actor.
Big Rock.
Yes, we've had Pastor Pitrock Sadiq, Chinedu Wagu. We've had Soluchi, amazing people. So if you want to be a part of this, if you don't want to miss any of our episodes, please drop your email in the chat box or private chat Allah, and she would add you to the group. I've not seen any questions though. Someone told me once that, Brenda, you always end these calls too fast. I was trying to ask a question. I'm like, oh, sorry, But if you know you have a question, please put up your hand or drop it in the chat box. Well, I just want to say something. When AU was speaking at some point, he said he was going to discuss something at a later date. And in my mind, I was like, gotcha. So that means you're coming back, right? And I'm so excited about that. So sometime in the course of the year, I'm sure that we're going to be having AU back to discuss some of these things, that he didn't really have the time to go very deeply into. But honestly, this has been This has been an amazing conversation. I am excited about it. I am looking forward to going back to read about it. The concepts of precepts, concepts, ideology, philosophy, your mentality, your attitude, just so much, so much, so much, so much. That being a champion begins from within, and is your mindset thing, the things that you think about and all of that. Thank you, Aniekan Usoroh. I believe that there are no questions. Please, nobody should come to me after this class to say, Brenda, I was going to say, you see that I'm trying to hold on, but I'm not getting any. But thank you so, so, so much. Edith Young, you sent me a message and said this is the best class that you. Edith Young, I don't think has missed any of our classes, and she's saying this is the best that she has attended. So I was expecting that you will come up with a question, but it's okay. Thank you for
let me
letting.
say something. Let me say
Okay,
something, Brenda.
all right.
Just as a giveaway to everybody. So we do three things to become three things. We're talking about championship, becoming, being. As a man thinketh in his heart, so easy, so he becomes. We do three things to become three things. We ask, we seek, and we knock to become three things: a light, a voice, and a bridge. Light is synonymous with illumination.
Yeah.
Illumination gives clarity. When you have clarity, you run faster in the right direction, because direction is never given from the back but from the front. Light therefore speaks of leadership. Light doesn't only speak of leadership, light also speaks of civilization and order. And every time that you're seeking, asking, seeking, and knocking, is so that you can be a light to your world, a light in that space, in that sector, in that community. You have to learn to be a voice above the noise. You have to learn to propel the right message. And the one that I love the most, you have to learn to be a bridge. And a bridge is that we connect people from where they are to the possibilities of their potential, so that when everybody comes around you, something happens to them. But what's the point of being a light if you're going to be a dim light? Because if you're a dim light, people will think that there's illumination, but they will stumble and fall. What's the point of being a voice if you're a feeble voice? And so people won't hear well, and there'll be misunderstanding, and the outcome will be chaotic. What's the point of being a bridge if you're a broken bridge? And people will fall and damage themselves. Remember that these things have to be, you have to do these things to be these things. And then the world will not only be awaiting the manifestation of you, the world will truly begin to experience your manifestation. Thank you, everyone.
Oh my God, I love it. Love it. Woo! Thank you so much, AU. Please, guys, put some fire emoji. I don't like how quiet this comment section is today. I'm not understanding it. I need to see fire emojis. I need to see people. Thank you for all those people saying that I look good. Thank you so much. I know. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate him. AU, I am so, so, so grateful. Okay, Halima, yes, I see you. I see you. It's entering. It's entering inside. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation to be here. I look forward to having you again and again and again, even as I look forward to being on the Connect as well. It's been a long time. It's been a long, long time. But yes, thank you so much. AU was one of the people who just gave me an opportunity, and I didn't know why. He gave me his platform and said, Brenda, I won't be around. I want you to host this. And I didn't even understand why. I did it, I enjoyed it, but I was like, how did he know that I will not mess it up? And it's important that you have people who see you beyond even what you see for yourself sometimes. Sometimes you have to run on borrowed beliefs. The people that believe in you, you run with their belief until you can build yourself to believe in yourself enough. But hey, thank you so much for being here. Aniekan Usoroh. I'll give you a call after now. And thank you. Thank you. For everybody that joined in today, Happy New Year to you. Well, this is Conversations with Brenda again. It has been an amazing time today. We look forward to more episodes. Please, please, please remember, we have our live events, our physical meeting on the 5th of April. 5th of April, we're having our second, what I would like to call our conference. Okay, so we're going to be having our very first committee meeting tomorrow by God's grace. And we're starting, in fact, the venue has already been paid for. Some speakers have been reached out to. So we have still speaking to some others. So plans are already underway. We are going to need your support because it is our thing, right? It is our thing. It's not just a few people, it's all of us. So please, 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 when we come to you for support in whatever way, please, show us that support. We really, this is something that we are working based on faith, on belief. We just believe that it is something that we can achieve. It's a lot. It's a lot, especially in these times that we are in. But we believe in ourselves and we know that it is something that we can achieve. So I look forward to seeing everybody. I don't know if we're going to have an episode before that. I really don't know. But whatever the case, we'll let you know, send you emails, and then we'll drop announcements on the group. Thank you for spending your evening with me today. I am so grateful. Thank you again to our speaker, Aniekan Usoroh. God bless you all. Good night. Bye. We know you have an episode before that. I don't know about that. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye.